Eichel?
Well, you'll be, that's what we had you down. Like, I have you on the list. Let me just check to make sure.
IT, we're good back there? All right. That was a no. All right, I'll wait. Is that 10 minutes? What are you saying?
30 seconds.
Thumbs up? All right, great. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Boynton Beach Community Redevelopment Agency Board meeting. This meeting is called to order. Today is Tuesday, December 10th, 2024, and the time is now 6 p.m. Before we proceed to the invocation and pledge of allegiance, I want to remind everyone of our rules of civility and decorum. Speakers must first be addressed by the chair, that is me, and not interrupt any other speakers. Public comments must be addressed to the board as a whole and not to any particular individual in the dais or in the audience. Disruptive behaviors, yelling, stamping of feet, whistling are strictly prohibited. Should you violate these rules, you may be asked to leave these chambers. Let's proceed now to the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. The invocation will be led by Commissioner Board Member Hay, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Board Member Turkin. Let's all rise for the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, as we gather here on our final CRA board meeting of the year 2024, I want to take a moment to reflect on the incredible progress we've made together. Father, we thank you for being in the midst of our decisions. We thank you for your grace and mercy. This year we work hard to improve our community, revitalize our neighborhoods, and create opportunities that make Boynton Beach a better place for everyone. Thank you for your dedication, collaboration, Lord, and passion for our great city. As the holiday season is upon us, I want to extend my warmest wishes to each of you. Whether you're celebrating Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, or simply looking forward to the joy and renewal that the new year brings, this is a time to pause, reflect, and cherish the moments that we think mostly of. And so to all, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Feliz Navidad, and a heartfelt Happy Holidays. May this season be filled with peace, love, and joy for you and your families. Let's continue to carry the spirit of unity and hope into the new year 2025 as we work together for an even brighter future. Lord God, we thank you again and happy holidays. In Jesus' name we pray. Let every heart say, amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, everybody. Deputy City Clerk, if you could please begin the roll call.
Board Member Cruz?
Here.
Board Member Turkin?
Present.
Board Member Hay?
Here.
Vice Chair Kelly?
Absent.
Absent. Chair Panserga?
Here.
Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you so much. Moving on to agenda approval, additions, deletions, corrections to the agenda. Staff has made two requests here. Their first request is to add onto 14C, Heart of Boynton Shops. Take a look at 14C. 14C is already the other MLK update. So we're going to add the shops to that update. The second request from staff is a third amendment to the Pulte Purchase and Development Agreement. Let's add that under consent, so that'll become 11F if there's no objections. This is, again, a third amendment. The board members, you've been provided a copy of that on your desk. Any objections to those requests? Anything from my colleagues? Board Member Cruz, any request? None? Board Member Hay?
None.
Okay, Board Member Turkin?
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to add, if it's okay with you guys, on the next CRA meeting, a discussion about how the CRA could potentially help facilitate the city with relocation of the Andrews House.
I have no objection to that.
No objection either. I've already had some conversations with staff about it, and it would be great to, well, we can't talk about city, but to get an update from the city, hopefully before that meeting.
Or maybe we could have a joint meeting like we've had in the past. I think that might be productive. Or something, if you guys are okay with that.
Like in January?
Yeah, in January, correct. I don't think we'll have the bandwidth to get that done before the holidays, but I think it would be helpful and more productive and efficient if we could have the city and the CRA together as far as staffing goes. I know we've done this in the past, to see what we can do, where everyone's head's at, and try to find a solution forward.
So personally, I would recommend that we let staff work together first, and then should they necessitate having a joint meeting, then we should do that. But I'm not sure yet if everybody's at that page yet. But I need to hear from staff. Are you, I mean,
We haven't had
You
discussions
haven't
directly
started
with
yet.
this with the city. We've had some previous discussions, but nothing on how we move forward at this point, nothing substantial. If you were looking to have some sort of joint CRA, a joint city CRA meeting, would you be looking at before one of the regular scheduled city commission meetings in January? or-
I think if we had the conversation, at a CRA meeting, right, and we get an appetite and consensus on what we want to do from the CRA's perspective, then maybe calling a joint meeting afterwards. So that way we discuss this in the city scope,
So
we
we'll bring-
discuss this in the CRA
that I'm
scope.
comfortable with, because by then, they will have had time
They'll
to
have the
work
consult,
together.
yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
So,
Bringing it back as a new agenda item in January then?
January, okay.
yeah,
Okay.
okay. All right, so this way you two can work together and see what you come up with. Anything else?
No, I just want to thank Mercedes, Renee, Gabby, and everyone for the boat parade captains meeting. Yesterday was very nice. And then in the future, I got a lot of phone calls about the Rock the Block event from the local business owners there. So my ask is if we can maybe next time incorporate local businesses that are going to be potentially impacted by these events, have them in those planning and discussion meetings. Because I did receive some feedback saying, that they potentially needed to close and it was going to affect revenue. And so I just want to see if we can invite those local business owners into the conversation when it comes to planning those events that may impact them.
All right, sounds good. I want to ask my colleagues under section 16, there are 3 items under section 16, Rock the Block recap, social media and marketing update, and the grant program update. Do you want to hear any of those 3 items? All right, so nothing's being pulled for that? All right, so we'll proceed. All right, so we are going to make the amendment. We have a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
We have a motion
Second.
from Board Member Hay and a second from Board Member Cruz. All those in favor of amending the agenda say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes unanimously. Let's proceed to legal. Good evening, Ms. Rustin. Today we have Ms. Rustin sitting on behalf of Catherine Rosmel.
Thank you.
Let's proceed to your item, 6A.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is, first of all, my item. We're bringing back the policy for special meetings and emergency meetings. I believe that when you were here last time, when you saw this agenda item before, there was a request or direction from the board to add definitions. Definitions have been added. Any questions or comments about the revisions?
I have none from myself. I'm good. Anything from my colleagues? Any questions?
No.
Okay. Legal, do you have any recommendations on next steps forward?
Just move to approve and no further steps. It can be part of your bylaws if you have bylaws, or if you have a policy, we'll just keep it on record, have the executive director keep the policy on file so everybody's aware of it.
All right, I'll entertain a formal motion to approve the procedures for special and emergency CRA board meetings if there's no other discussion.
So move.
We have a motion from Board Member Turkin and a second from Board Member Hay. All those in favor of the motion to adopt the procedure, say aye. Aye. All right, motion passes unanimously. Let's move on to 6B, continued discussion and consideration of the temporary use agreement with OHLA USA Inc. for the use of CRA properties as a construction staging area for the Boynton Beach Complete Street project. Let me turn to Tim, and also feel free to jump in, Council.
Off. All right, so as of the last meeting on November 21st, OHLA requested relief from the CRA board for the requirement to install perimeter fencing with screening. The board also discussed OHLA's unauthorized removal of fill from the site. The board determined that OHLA would have 14 days to come into compliance, otherwise a notice of default can be issued. As of today's date, they have not installed said fence, so they are not in compliance. They have sent notification to us recently that they would start installing the fence on the 13th. It is up to the board whether you would like to go ahead and issue said default notice, which would give them 7 days to correct the deficiency and, essentially put them on notice.
Tim, and to be absolutely clear, you have been informed by them that by Friday, do I remember that correctly? It will be arriving, or so they think it will be?
They think they will start on the 13th, but again, I can't, it's their prerogative whether they will actually.
Understood. All right, thank you. Board Member Cruz, your thoughts?
Thank you, Chair. My question is, how long would it take for this to be installed? Do we know?
Based upon their estimate, they say 2 days.
Okay. So my position would be to move forward with the letter that we're going to send from the CRA side saying that they're in default. And that's the only way that we're going to be able to put teeth to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. It appears that we've had verbal communication with this entity for a while now, and they haven't really taken it seriously. So I think it's our duty now to kind of move forward in that direction. Thank you.
Just for full transparency, they did say that when they went to go do their locates, their utility locations, they accidentally located the wrong property. So they can proceed with the work as scheduled, just so you know that that's their, why they couldn't. But again, here we are.
Yes, that sounds like a minor technical issue. They put it in the wrong place, but now they can just move it. And for also transparency, how many days would they have to cure the default?
7 days.
7 days.
7 days to cure. So if they're not able to cure the default in 7 days, the agreement would be terminated. So there would be, they would have to enter into a new agreement with you. Let's say they're in the process of installing the fence, but it's not completed, or if it's coming the next day, the notice of default includes a clear direction to terminate after 7 days. So if it's not cured within 7 days, the agreement will terminate.
They would have to vacate and return the site to its pre-existing condition.
Is there a time frame that we believe might be reasonable for them to cure? I know they're saying it's 2 days and they're starting on the 13th, which might mean that by the 15th they should be done. Would it be more reasonable then to give them maybe 14 days to cure?
That you could actually change that, however, or you could tell us to issue the date of default or the notice and delay that to a certain time as well.
Well, I would recommend if you are hesitant as well, as you give them another notice, because once you issue the notice of default, per the terms of the agreement, they have 7 days to cure. So if you had a notice that said maybe 14 days, that would be inconsistent with the agreement. So you wouldn't be able to have a notice of default with 14 days to cure. You want to maybe give them a certain amount of time and then direct staff to issue the notice to terminate after a certain date. You could do that, but it seems, with the 7 days, may not give them enough time to complete.
Based upon their email and their estimate of time, they should be able to be ready to go on the 13th. And more than likely, they would be working over the weekend, though I cannot guarantee that. So essentially by the 18th if their email is correct, they should be having that installed and completed.
If that's their testimony, then I will take them for their word. Okay, that's
Right,
my
I
opinion.
agree.
Board
Now,
Member Hay.
when would the clock start ticking when they receive it, or the date on the letter, or?
The clock would start ticking. We have the letter ready to go. It has not been sent. We would send it first thing tomorrow morning, so tomorrow morning would be, we'd send it via email, so it would be when they receive it via email, which would be pretty much close to when we send it, and that clock would start ticking tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Anything else for my colleagues? Is there a formal motion to?
If I may, if there's
Yes.
one thing, if you do move forward with the notice of default, I recommend that you have a public hearing on this matter, since in order to terminate an agreement, you need public comment. Public comment on this matter. In order to terminate, there would have to be some public comment on the issue, according to your processes, as I understand them.
Would you want to delay the actual effectuation of that termination to the end of next week, to the 20th?
Thank you.
I'm just asking. I mean, it's up to you all how you want to proceed, but you could build some leeway into that as well if you want to,
Okay.
So have the letter sent maybe on Monday, or we have
the-
to look at the calendar.
20th?
We would look at the 13th, send the letter out on Friday, and then they would have to the 20th to complete, yeah? I would send the letter on the 13th, that they would have 7 days to basically get, correct the deficiency. And then on the 20th, it would be, correct.
I'm okay either way.
Okay.
So, and council, you're just recommending we have public comment before we make the final vote?
That is correct.
Okay, that's fine with me. All right, go ahead if you'd like to make the motion.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to authorize the CRA, interim executive director, and legal to send notice of default and pursue contract compliance up to and including termination and eviction as of the date of December the 13th, to be effective on December 20th.
All right, thank you. Is there a second to this
Second.
motion? We have a second from Board Member Hay. Any further discussion from my colleagues? Hearing none, I'm going to proceed to public comment on this item. If you would like to speak specifically on this item, now is the time to approach the podium. After all those in person have spoken, we'll go to those online. And I see no one approaching the podium, and I see no one online. With that, public comment on this item.
Excuse me, Board
Is
Chair.
now
Do we
closed,
have
yes.
a representative from OHLA available online? Okay.
Yeah, I see
I
no
just
one
wanted to make
online.
sure.
No,
Okay.
that's perfectly fine. All right, public comment is now closed. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. We're going to move on to informational items and disclosures by board members and CRA staff. Board Member Turkin, let's begin on your side this time. Do you have any informational items? Non-board member Hay, do you have any informational items?
Just a couple, I want to say of the snapshot with Santa was really, really good. He wouldn't let me sit on his lap, but that's okay. Also, the Kabuki ribbon cutting, the small business, that was informative. I will be going back. Some of the food I have to get used to. And also the small business over on US 1, the Costa Costa, what the name of that building? Anyway, they had a good business going up. My hope and prayer is that they stay in business. They seem to be really nice people.
Sophie? Safai.
Sophie,
Is that right?
what is it?
It's okay. All right, I'll come
It's
back to
okay.
us.
That's it.
All
That's
right,
it.
thank you so much. Board Member Cruz, any informational items?
No disclosures for me. I do want to thank staff for working on Rock the Block and also for the boat parade. We're really excited for it, and I have a lot of constituents in District 1 that are excited to come and see it. Thank you.
All right, great. We're looking forward to that. Moving on to Section 8A. This is an announcement, and or can we get the picture up here? And Mercedes, did you also want to talk about the award? Nope, nothing for it? Okay. All right, so Mercedes, will turn to you for 9A, the Holiday Boat Parade announcement. Yes.
8A was we carried that over for a photo opportunity if you guys wanted to have one with the award.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's up to you if you still want to do that.
Okay, no worries. The award's not going anywhere. Unless, okay, Mercedes, you're already here, go ahead.
Okay, good evening, Board. Mercedes Coppin, Business Development and Promotions Manager. We are very excited to host the 52nd Annual Boynton Beach Holiday Boat Parade this Friday, December 13th. That parade is going to be starting at 6:30 p.m. in the area just south of Ocean Avenue Bridge in Lantana by Old Key Lime House, and we'll be traveling south to the C-15 Canal in Delray Beach. We have 42 boaters that have already registered, so we're very excited for a nice showing on the intercoastal waterways. We're going to be illuminating it with lots of holiday joy and cheer. Our festivities at the Boynton Harbor Marina will start at 6 p.m. We'll have live music from the band Rogue Theory, as well as a visit with Santa and his elves. This year, something new that we've added in is a mini vendor market, so look forward to that as well. And we will have snow for the kiddos to play in, with a little snow kid play area, and a giant snow globe photo op as well. And we're just looking forward to having a great night. Any questions?
I'm good. Anyone else?
All right.
Nope, I heard 12's gonna show out, just for the judges to know.
What's gonna show up? Boat number 12, okay.
Oh, yes, and we left our boat parade shirts for you each as well. I hope that you
you.
received those. All right.
Mercedes, kind of have them slow down a little bit so we can give them a fair shot. So,
That's a good point.
Trust me, I stress that.
At the captain's meeting.
I stress it at the captain's meeting every year, and somehow they never get it. But we did get a big sign that says "slow down" as they're approaching the marina, so hopefully they read that for us.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mercedes, thank you so much. We're now moving on to the next page, the first item, Section 10, public comment. This is for items not on the agenda or anything under consent. Now would be the time to approach the podium. If you'd like to speak, as always, each speaker has 3 minutes. After we conclude with those in person, we'll go to those online. State your name for the record, and you may begin. Wait 1 second. You may begin when you're ready.
My name's Tom Warnke, and most of you know I moved here in 1956 when I was 8 years old. I work at the Delray Beach Historical Society. I'm the archive coordinator there, but my heart's in Boynton, and I live in West Boynton. Our committee was formed about 10 days ago. The name of it is Move Historic Andrews House, and that's what I'm speaking to this evening. We've got 12 members, officers, a website, and we're working closely with the Boynton Beach Historical Society and the city, and as of this evening, the CRA. I'm the vice chair and also the CRA liaison. There have been 7 media articles about saving the historic Andrews House in the past 10 days, including a great story today in the Palm Beach Post. It was online this morning, and I believe the print version will be out in a day or two. So I've got some points for you to consider this evening. The historic Andrews House is 4 bedrooms, 2 baths. Both bathrooms have old clawfoot tubs. And the house is in very good condition. It's 1,600 square feet, 900 down and 700 up. And as I said last week, this is a feel-good project. Everybody can win with this. And we know the developer wants it moved. The CRA and the city here in Boynton have an interlocal agreement from 2023 that includes installation and reconstruction projects totaling $2.5 million, including $500,000 for Centennial Park and $400,000 for Pence Park. In Boynton Beach, the historic Ruth Jones Cottage was moved by the CRA and renovated in 2012. Acquisition cost was $265,000 back then. There's no acquisition cost with the Andrews home. We do need help to lock it up and move the items that are historic archives from the Katz family to the city archives. So we're looking for help from the owner with permission by the city or the CRA. When it's moved, it'll have to change hands. So it'll be the CRA, city, historical society, or some other entity. And one other point. I work at the Delray Beach Historical Society, which has 3 cottages as a museum and office, including mine. 2 of those cottages were moved there from Federal Highway. It is an economic engine for downtown Delray Beach. The city budgets $100,000 a year, and the CRA budgets the same amount to the Historical Society. The budget is
Thank you, sir.
$350,000. Let's do that here,
Thank you.
okay?
All right, we'll follow up. Thank you so much, Mr. Warnicki. Next speaker, please approach the podium. Begin when you're ready and state your name for the record.
My name is Abraham Burgess. I live here in the city of Boynton. I belong to an organization called MVP, Men of Vision and Purpose, a group of us that retired from our careers, and we took it upon ourselves to get together with local elementary school kids. We found out that the example we were given was there are a lot of 5th graders that couldn't even read at a 3rd grade level. So we took it upon ourselves to do something about helping them to develop their reading skills. What we did was we went to Point Siena. We met with the school and the principal, Ms. Shannon, and we also went to Boynton High School, Boynton Beach High School. We're going to be recruiting about 9 students from Boynton Beach High School to be taken to Point Siena to help us train these young elementary school kids with their reading program through an after-school program. The issues we're having right now is getting the kids from Boynton High School to Point Siena to do the training. We have been looking at different avenues of getting them there safely and legally, and we come into a situation where we're not sure how we're going to get that done. One of the things we're trying to pursue is the ride-sharing program that we have here that you met with us at a community meeting and was discussing how we could use that to help get around within the city of Boynton Beach. We're hoping that in some kind of way we could use that to help us get the kids from one location to another and see if he can help us with that. We've been speaking with Mr. Hay about that subject, and he's worked with us to help us try and work something out as well. And that's what I have.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, next speaker. If there's no one else, Board Member Hay, you wanted to say something?
Yes, on that subject that he's talking about, we've handled greater problems or challenges than this before, as far as getting 9 kids from Boynton Beach High School to Ponce Siena to help the kids in the reading program. I would suggest, because I think Boynton Beach High School is outside our district, CRA district, but Ponce Siena is within. So if we could work with the city, talk with the city, try to work something out. I'm not sure what that is right now, but I'm sure we can work something out, because it's not going to be every day. It's going to be like once a week or something like that, I believe, until April. So I would love to see us make a concerted effort to make this happen. This is getting 9 of the seniors from Boynton Beach High School to come over with his organization of men, which is about 20 or 30 men, and help with the reading program over here at Ponce Siena Elementary School. And I think it's a worthwhile program that we really need to put forth the effort to make it happen. I'm not sure what that is right now.
Board Member Hay, I would suggest if maybe staff can get the gentleman's phone number, or if you already have it, maybe just talk to city staff and see what can be done. I know sometimes, in a general sense, individuals within the city can allocate community support funds for certain purposes, and I do know that a nonprofit called 211 does provide transportation services, so maybe look into that, or if I can give you the contact information, you can reach out on your own.
Thank you, Board Member Cruz.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, excellent.
Talk with you later.
All right, excellent. Is there anyone else for public comments?
1 second, Board Chair.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure we may have some prospective tenants from the MLK. And I would just want to make sure if they have an opportunity to
Absolutely.
speak, what whether it be public comment or if we take public comments during the MLK item. I just want to make sure it wasn't skipped.
I think we're going to move through the agenda quickly, so I would recommend we have those public comments during the MLK
Agreed.
item. So this way we get the update and then they're right there, so it perfectly coincides.
All right, just want to
Okay.
make sure we don't miss it.
Nope, absolutely, I appreciate it. Okay, public comments is now closed. Let's move on to consent agenda. Are there any items under consent that my colleagues would like to pull? Again, I want to remind you that we added one walk-on item. That was the third amendment to the Pulte Purchase and Development Agreement 11F. Anything here? We have a motion to approve.
To approve.
All right, and we have a motion from Board Member Turkin and a second from Board Member Hay. All those in favor of the motion to approve the consent agenda, say aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to the CRA Advisory Board. Tim, did you have any updates on the advisory board?
At the last CRAB meeting, they had discussed a property that they were interested in the industrial area, which we're going to be looking at possibly bringing back to the board in January, as well as they were formalizing their findings on the CRA plan to present in front of the board in January as well.
Okay, all right. Any questions for Tim on this matter? Seeing none, we're going to keep moving forward. Old business, 14A, continued discussion and consideration of the purchase of 323 East Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Tim, introduce the item for us, please.
We will actually have Teresa present this one for us today.
Perfect. Good evening, Teresa.
Good evening, Board. Teresa Utterback, Development Services Manager. This item was brought to you last month, and the only issue with it was that it contained tenants, and the board asked us to go back and talk to the seller and see if that he could deliver the property empty, and he can. So I have an agreement, a signed agreement by the seller for the price of $450, which was the 20% above appraised value. Just waiting for your discussion and approval.
All right. Board Member Hay, would you like to begin?
No, I'm happy to hear that, because don't want to get into the landlord business, so I'm glad they have agreed to deliver it empty.
The nice thing about it, just so that you guys know, the tenants aren't being displaced. He's actually moving them from to another rental apartment that he has.
I see.
So it's a win-win, really.
Yeah, even better.
Yeah, even better.
I'm all for it.
That was going to be my question.
Okay. Given the strategic location of this lot, I can't say no. Hard for me to say no.
Yeah.
Board Member Hay, would you do us the honor and make the motion? And the language should be on the screen.
Oh, okay. Motion to approve the purchase of property located at 323 East MLK Boulevard in the amount of $450,000 and approve the execution of the purchase and sale agreement by board chair.
All right, is there a second? We have a second from Board Member Cruz. Let's turn now to public comment on this item. If you would like to speak specifically on item 14A, now is the time to approach the podium. 14A, all right. No one approaching the podium, and there is, let me just double check. Was there anybody online? Nope, no, all right, public comment is now closed. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, anyone object? Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations to those folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
14, and for the whole area, right? We are, we're land banking and it's getting bigger.
Yeah.
So we can have more housing and shops. 14B, discussion and consideration of Circuit Transit Inc.'s contract for on-demand transportation services. Tim, would you like to quickly introduce, and do we have the representative from them?
We do have a representative from Circuit.
Good evening.
The pilot program, as you know, for Circuit is set to expire in March. So we wanted to bring back this item for your discussion and consideration about possible extending the program. The agreement allows for 3 one-year periods. However, we're reviewing the existing agreement to make sure that that's still open to us and that we're in compliance with piggybacking that agreement. If you guys look to continue the program, if you're happy with the program. Also want some input from you if you're looking at possibly want staff to coordinate with the city if they're interested in continuing the program as well, or even expanding the services. Because if you remember, we had done a survey and they were looking at different areas that we might want to potentially consider. Again, because those would be outside the CRA district, that would require the city an expansion of our ILA that we have with the city to fund that. So this is up for your discussion and whether you would like to, A, continue the program beyond March, and start that consideration, as well as direct staff on how you would like to approach on the continuation of said services.
Thank you, Tim. I'm not sure if you'd like to add anything to that.
Good evening, Jason Bagley with Circuit.
Can you turn on the mic, please?
There we go. How's that?
Better. Thanks.
Good evening, Jason Bagley with Circuit. Thank you all for having me here again tonight. Not much to add. I will say that I think there's some bandwidth to expand into some new areas. We did just recently expand further south, not even a month ago. But this is really our first peak season that we're going into. We started in April. So I think important to watch and see how the ridership is January, February, March. But I do think either way, we have some capability to expand. And like the gentleman spoke about, we're happy to get involved with community projects like that. I know there's things to work out there between the city and the CRA, but always happy to try and help fill some gaps. I do also have a meeting with Bethesda Hospital next week, who's interested in being part of the coverage area and maybe help support financially. And then a meeting with Tri-Rail in 2 weeks that I'm sure would love us to be able to connect to that. Might be a good funding opportunity to get them to contribute as well.
Perfect. Personally, I support extending this contract for at least another year. And I think as our next step, I fully support extending to the Tri-Rail station, but it sounds like we first need to hear from them first before we can move in that direction. But that's something that I'd be open to. All right, anyone else wants to jump in? Board Member Cruz?
I definitely want to say I do support continuing with Circuit. I think it's a great opportunity, not only for us CRA, but eventually, as you mentioned, potentially expanding. So I would like to maybe have a conversation with you about that and seeing what the cost might be individually. But yeah, I do support them. Thank you.
So, Jason, based on what you've said, you still need to have conversations with the hospital and Tri-Rail. I think it's more prudent that, if there's consensus in the board to extend for a year, let's have a separate conversation on those potential new, what do you call it, expansions?
Any kind of expansion, yeah. Just any
Once you have
service
that firmed up,
parameters.
and bring it back and let us know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Also, just keep in mind, so you're aware, we are fully funded for this next fiscal year as a part of our budget already, so we would not have to do any additional amendment. We did allocate additional funding for another full year, so.
Great.
Good.
Board Member Hay?
I agree with what's been said. Question for you, Tim. How is the circulation in District 2? Is it improving? From the last time we looked at it, it was kind of low.
Well, I think if you look at the quarterly report, the first one versus the second one, you could see in the second one that the heat map was showing more activity within the HOB as far as the destination and pickup location. It certainly has room for improvement. I think as you aptly stated, the longer this program is in service, the more people are educated on it and comfortable with it. And I think you're starting to see use of it. I think even in the demographics that you were looking at with the age groups have actually kind of spread out, because originally it was just the younger group and the older groups that were taking the majority of the rides. Now it's almost evenly distributed, which is changing the demographic of who's using Circuit. But as far as HOB is concerned, it's actually increased since the first report.
And the last question is there high risk in doing what I suggested for special events like what I'm up against now with picking up from a particular location like the high school, and it's only a couple of miles or so to Ponciano. Could we look into something?
We can
make exceptions.
We can definitely look at something with the city. Unfortunately, because we're in the CRA district, we would have to, just like we do with the beach route, we would have to come up and alter our ILA to utilize Circuit services, and the city would have to fund that proportionate share, and we could fund it up to a certain point. But there may be services that the city may be able to provide outside of Circuit. So let's have the discussion first to see what options we may have available. I don't know if the city has
Those situations come up, maybe could go by this board and we would vote on it, whether or not we want to approve that or not. If it's not of a great liability,
Yeah.
you know, we may want to make exceptions that way, if that would be something legal that we could do.
Well, I'm definitely going to reach out to this city staff, see what they already have currently available for transportation services first. And then once I have an idea of what that is, then we'll take a look at Circuit and see if there's something that they can participate in. It's going to have to be formulated through an interlocal agreement, because as soon as we hit our district, it's got to be a city service that's funded by the city.
Perfect. Thank you.
Board Member Turkin?
No, I support extending it. I'm curious to see what happens during season, and thank you for getting the private sector involved. I think that opens the door for an opportunity to lessen the burden on the taxpayers, especially if we want to expand outside the CRA limits. I do want to know if I can get a point of contact for when there's a bug in the app, because I tried to use the service, maybe a month or two ago, and it said it was like 4 minutes away, and I'm standing out there like 15, 20 minutes. And it's never showed up, so we ended up walking.
Okay,
But
sorry to
I
hear
just
that.
don't know like how to report that, and that's not the first time that's happened.
Yeah.
But I want to always give a little grace. If it happens once, okay, twice, third time, I just want to see, who do I need to tell that to, or where do I report that, so that way that individual can fix that bug.
Yeah, there's some connections right through the app that you can report it. And
Okay.
I would say, I'll leave my card here, if that's all right. You can always reach out. But any screenshots you get, we send that to our tech team, and they can dig in and see,
So there's a
what's going on.
feature in the app?
There is,
Okay,
yes.
perfect. I'll
Yeah.
utilize that then.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Board Member. Council, just to be clear, is the direction sufficient? And then you'll bring back a formal agreement next meeting? Is
I
that your
believe we can bring,
expectation?
I'm hoping to bring back an agreement at the next meeting. It would depend on whether all the business terms are completely fleshed out at that time. At the very latest, February, because it would expire in March. So if it doesn't come back
that's fine.
January, for sure it'll be February. So we do have
Before
until
the
March 1st.
expiration.
And certainly, we would bring back concurrently with it an ILA to, with the city on whatever adjustment that would need to be made.
Yes. And Jason, you'll have all those discussions beforehand?
Yes, those are all scheduled for the next 2 weeks.
All right, by then we'll know.
Right then.
Right.
Also, just as a point, we still haven't fully encapsulated our entire district. We could go north on Federal Highway up to, is it the Harvey Air Park in that area? I don't know if we've ever explored that, or if you guys would be willing to entertain it, but I don't know. I mean, we could coordinate and see if there is an adjustment that would need to be made for an additional vehicle or not, but I'm not sure what numbers you're currently seeing with the addition of Walmart, so.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good time to try that out. And I think we can do it with the current fleet. If you wanted to expand that, we can connect on, the boundaries and add that pretty quickly.
So, I mean, it's up to you.
I
all
think
if
it's a
you're-
good idea.
Expanding to Harvey Or?
It wouldn't
Well,
have cost
basically
anything
the-
additional.
Wait,
No.
one second.
We'll do it with we're just gonna open up the map a little bit larger, so it wouldn't cost anything additional, and I think it helps boost that ridership.
Thank you, Tim.
No, I mean, it's up to you. The only area that we wouldn't be expanding to at this point would be the industrial district, which would go across I-95.
Yeah.
So that would be the only part of our district that we haven't opened it up to, but I think there would be a good amount of trips to and from the intercoastal as well as Harvey, so.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I was talking to some people in the fleet there, and they were discussing, there's a lot of people that are return clients, for recreational fishing, and they'll stay, actually, most of them stay at west of 95, because there's not a great hotel here yet, east of 95, right? And so I think that provides, an opportunity where, a lot of people stay at Airbnbs too, short-term rentals if they're staying on the east side. So I think that provides an opportunity for them to, grab their fish and then go to a local business like Two Georges or Hurricane Alley, get it cooked. So I'd like to see that expanded. I think it'll be utilized.
All right, thank you so much, everybody. Jason, thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to move on to item 14C, MLK Junior Boulevard Corridor Mixed-Use Project Update with the shops. And I know there are several, or I've been told there are several speakers on this item. And, all right.
All right, so as you're aware, at the last meeting in November, the board pressed Centennial Management Corporation for more progress on the tenant build-out spaces. And staff has coordinated with some of the tenants. They did provide final construction cost estimates to the outstanding construction contracts that they said that they would provide. They're also revisiting some of the additional cost estimates because they are substantially higher than what the tenants had thought that it would be. So they're reevaluating some of those as well. Centennial is also looking at utilizing their $7,000 contribution towards the build-out per our agreement, if you recall, towards the actual undergrounding and starting of the stub-ups before they pour the slab. They're hoping that this will get motivation as well as forward progress on the project. So that's something that they're looking at doing.
All right, thank you for the update. Anybody have any questions for Tim? All right, with that, if you would like to speak or share your story about the MLK project, now is a great time to approach the podium. State your name for the record. I'll set the timer for 3 minutes as always. Begin whenever you're ready. And are you two in the same business? Separate? Okay, one at a time. All right, state your name for the record and begin.
Okay. All right. Good evening, board. Thank you for this opportunity. And last time you held a meeting here, and we talked about it. I had a few questions. My name is Jude, by the way, Jude Valent. I'm the owner and CEO of Potiwa Pizza, one of the unit, I believe is Unit 104, that I will be opening Potiwa Pizza in the project, the CRA project, and I think it's MLK Avenue. So it was a really difficult situation for us, like, you know, to move forward with the project. And I remember started with 6 months prior. I made contact with the Centennial people. I was working on a project in Brooklyn, in a Potiwa Pizza in Brooklyn. And 6 months later, I ended up open in Brooklyn, and yet I haven't started anything here. And it was really difficult. And for that, I had 2 people that were very interested opening the place with me. And investors were willing to bring capital to open the business with me. And here, unfortunately, and I couldn't give them a date. And these people, they had other things to do with their money. And they were really eager to invest because they know about the project. They see multiple stores that I have, and they love it. They love the idea. They love, you know, the opportunity to be in Boynton. And unfortunately, because of time consuming, because of the delays, and these people walked away. Now I have to find another way to build the restaurant myself. And it's a very difficult situation. It's not only me, and I spoke to other people. They're all in the same difficulties with the project moving forward. But yesterday I spoke to Bani, and she gave me the news that you, Mr. Track, just talked about. It was really comforting news, and that will really help us as business people to move forward with the project. But the question we have is just how you think that you would move forward with it. Oh, sorry. How you think you're going to move forward, and we know that we can use our own general contractors, but because of the delayed and losing monies, and how the board plan to help us moving forward with the project.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Next speaker.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sylvia Gillian with Gillian & Co. and Gillian & Co. Realty. I'm also a real estate instructor. As you know, I'm in, was Unit 107. After the meeting last month, I was very upset and disappointed because, again, as he spoke, we have waited a long time. I ended my lease at the place that I had in Boca because I was told that the project was going to be done in December, then they changed it January, whatever. So I ended my lease. I did not have any of my classes that I was supposed to have for my real estate classes. Again, waiting for this project to be completed. And some of the other things that I lost money for, but I'm not really here to speak about that. I just want to say to you guys, thank you, because I really appreciate what you did the last commission meeting, how you fought for us to get this project back on track. I did withdraw from it. Tim, I think, who is Tim? Are you Tim? Tim, I think I emailed you too as well, right? I think I emailed you as well. I think I CC'd you and I withdrew from having anything to do with this project because I'm like, it was just not gonna happen. So with that being said, I did speak with Bunny. I spoke with Paul as well. I told Bunny that I would move forward if this project is really gonna move forward because I did go to the City of Delray Beach, CRA, and they are offering me not only a spot for cheaper, but $75,000 build out. But I already put so much money in this project. It cost me $8,500 just for the architect. I purchased TVs, software, furniture, and everything. I'm paying for storage every month since almost a year, almost 2 years now. So I'm just here hoping that this project really going to move forward. And as he spoke, as he stated, I spoke with Bunny as well, and I was told that the landlord is going to use the money that they was going to contribute to pour the foundation, and then we will be able to use our own contractor. So I hope that is true because I already have someone. So anyways, I just want to say thank you guys for actually fighting for us. And I'm really happy to move forward with the project.
Excellent.
All right?
Thank you so much.
All right. So thank you guys. Bye-bye.
Have a good evening. And
So in the election.
let's make sure we get that in writing.
Okay, just so you understand. They have been given, or they have the opportunity to utilize their own contractor. However, we're working with legal on how that process works because there's, how it's being paid and who they'll be utilizing. Centennial was looking at going ahead and proceeding the underground and then pouring the slab so that it was showing forward movement and utilizing the $7,000 that they would be contributing towards that effort. But certainly we would need to have solidified if the tenants are looking to utilize their own contractor for the rest of the build out, basically from the shell up. So we will be working with them on how that process works. Because originally the idea was that RS would be, who is the contractor for Centennial, would be doing the build outs.
So you'll bring back something to the board?
That is the intent, or if needed.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, any questions for Tim? All right.
I just want to say that I'm highly disappointed in this latter part of this project because we all went out on a limb for this to be successful, and it is successful up to this point of dealing with these small businesses, and I'm very disturbed about that. I'm happy to hear that we're somewhat back on track. Do we have any assurance that things are going to continue?
We've had many meetings with Centennial, which you may be aware of a few. They are working to get this completed. They're promising that they want to get this done. They're going to work with the tenants how they need to get it done. So we will continue on the staff level, facilitating those meetings and keep working with the Centennial and the tenant as best we can. We don't really have any contractual relationship with the tenants themselves because it is the tenant-landlord lease agreement that is the agreement between them. However, as a CRA, we're going to facilitate and coordinate and do whatever we can to get this done. So,
and I'm sure we're doing that, but wanted to, for the record, that these small business people are losing money because they had to go out and possibly, I don't know if they did, but make loans that they're paying back, and they have no income from the businesses that they were so excited about. And someone, is holding up the game here. And we need to get to the bottom of this thing and make it happen. So I'm going to get back in the game again. I did talk with Louis Sweeney, whatever his name is, and I'll be talking to him again because I still don't hear what I want to hear. And it's totally unfair. You get your money and run, and you leave the rest of those small people holding the bag, and that's unfair. And I am a little upset about it.
We have a couple that were ready to go, Unit 102 in particular. But there was such a long delay in getting a construction contract and final pricing from Centennial that it is now becoming, a roadblock to moving further. So we're working with Centennial on doing some value engineering to see what they can do to get that pricing down so that it's back to what they were anticipating paying in the first place. I mean, truthfully told, there is price escalation that's validated, but there is no excuse for how long it took to get there.
Just keep us in the loop, okay? Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everybody. Moving on to the next item, which is 14D, and the related item is 15A. My recommendation is that since our vice chair is not here, that we continue and leave this item on the table until all of us are here, given the importance
I
of
agree
this.
with that.
I agree.
All right.
Agree.
All right, thank you so much. We're going to move on to item 15B, discussion and consideration of issuing an RFP for design services for the Boynton Harbor Marina seawall. Tim.
As the board and the public may be aware, the CRA owns and maintains a seawall at the Boynton Harbor Marina, located at 735 Casa Loma Boulevard. We have secured federal funding. It's the FEMA pre-disaster mitigation grant for last year to the tune of $1.3 million, and we are in the fiscal year 25 for $1.1 million. And we are looking at procuring the design services as well as the construction administration services from a design consultant. And as you may be aware, we require as Florida law, we have to abide by CCNA in procuring over a certain dollar threshold. So we have prepared an RFQ. We are looking basically for the board to authorize issuance of the RFQ for design services. We may have to make some changes to it based upon the FEMA agreement and the actual reward, but we are looking for authorization to allow staff to do so when we get the agreement from FEMA to move forward.
All right, questions for Tim? Otherwise, let's prepare the motion.
Just want to give thanks to staff for working on this and securing another $1.3, almost $1.4 million for us, which is saving our residents hopefully a lot of money if it's approved by Congress. Thank you.
2.5.
Well, 1.3 this time, but plus the other one, yes. Thank you so much.
Precisely.
If there's no other, I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second? And then we'll
Second for
something-
discussion.
yeah, there we go.
Yeah, thank you, Tim, and staff. It's long, this project's been a long time coming, and I'm happy to see it get done. I didn't filter through the whole scope of work, but and I'm not an engineer, but is it even realistic, or is there a possibility that when this project does happen, that there's a way to construct maybe half and half? Because what I worry about is there's gonna be a lot of businesses put out that aren't gonna have somewhere to go. So I don't know if that is even a reality or not.
We are going to be looking at the phasing of the construction to minimize the impact to our businesses.
Okay.
So whatever that may be looking at, we will be exploring that as a part of the design.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly how we offset or mitigate that, but there will be a certain point in time. I mean, it's just,
Yeah, I just think that's something that should definitely be on the in the forefront of our thoughts, because that's 19 businesses, and a lot of those people, that's their livelihoods, that's how they feed their children, and their families. And so I want to make sure that we have a plan on where they're gonna be when they're, relocated, temporarily. Or if there is a way to maybe do half. Obviously, some people can use Harvey Oyer, you know what I mean? But,
Whatever opportunities
Right.
that exist to make sure that this is minimal impact to their businesses, that's what we're going to do.
awesome, thank you.
All right, thank you. Anything else? With that, let's turn to public comment. I see no one online, and is there anyone in the chamber who would like to speak specifically on this item? Seeing no one, public comment is now closed. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, if you could please state the motion for the record, as written there.
Motion to authorize the acting executive director to issue the RFQ for design services consistent with federal requirements and bring back the firm rankings for board consideration prior to negotiation.
Yep, the second confirms. All right, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone object? Motion passes unanimously. I believe we've concluded all the items for this meeting. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Right. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you so much.
Missed it by